mathematicians, energy, weather lovers. Amy and I are stars and cards together. Separately, Amy is astrology with Amy, our amazing astrologist. And I am Fiona from Mind Your Matter Healing. I work with kinesiology and quantum numerology and the cards of life, which are the ancient tarot hidden in the playing cards, because life is but a game. So we thought, we've been quiet lately, we would do a forecast for the month of September and leading on to the energy of the rest of the year also. September is always like a new beginning, a real amplification of the year's energy that you're in. So it's great that we had time to throw this together now, because if your year has been going along with, say, the numbers, the numerology side of things, you would be feeling the momentum of life building upon you at the moment. August is finishing today. It's been a 7 energy month, which is very, very physical. We've had a lot of retrograde Mercury issues. We've had a lot of testing of the physical. Amy and I are giggling because we've both had health issues, car fuck-ups, all sorts of things. And the 7 energy is the month of physicality, of falling back into faith and trust. And it's often seen as the lucky number. But the thing is, luck is really 7. Yeah, it's an oxymoron, really, because it's either trusting, taking action, or it's just absolutely reckless. It's the number energy where you jump out of the plane without checking your parachute kind of thing. And, luck is really just practice made manifest, if we want to be real about it. So now the energy of the September is that of the 8. It's the 9th month of the year, and if you know the magic of the number 9, it always reflects the year's energy. So this has been an 8 energy year in numerology. If you just add up the numbers of the year, 2 + 2 + 4, it equals 8. And the 9 is magic in that it reflects that as well and amplifies it. So this year has all been about mastery of yourself. It's been about committing the lessons, perhaps, that you were indicated to learn last year. And it's really about preparation and cultivation and wealth and that payoff of the luck, which in reality is just practice. So now we should be masterful with this energy. If you think about the shape of the 8, it's like a little racetrack. So the energy's been funny, where you feel like you're going really slow and then it speeds up. It builds momentum around the curves of life. So you can either be feeling really precise and deliberate or masterful this year, and leading into September, this is really going to be amplified through the stars and what's going on. Amy will tell us about in a moment. The opposite side of that 8, though, is you could really be feeling out of control and that events are moving way too quickly, anxious. Life is really starting to reach that breaking point, trapped by circumstance. September also being the 9 energy month and preparing us for the 9 energy year next year, it is going to bring endings upon us. So if we try and stay on the high side of the 8 and understand it as mastery, we're learning lessons. We need to practice what we preach and what we want to see in the world, rather than feeling this trapped by circumstances, destructive, giving up kind of energy. September will help us learn by letting go, coming to the end of cycles, and really mastering what our visions are for ourselves. The 8 is what helps evolve humans and prepares us for that never-ending cycle of letting go and then rebirthing, which will happen in November. So, Amy, how, with that brief overview just of the numbers, how does that align with the stars and what's going on in the heavens with our planets?
Okay, first thing I want to say is that shininess on my head, I haven't had bad Botox. I just noticed that. I've got a big cut there.
But your third eye glowing, it's okay.
I got a devil horn cut off. Mercury retrograde turned me into a little devil. Okay, so I just thought I'm not going to go over every astrological event in September, so I just thought I'd go over some standout ones. And I'll start with Uranus stationing retrograde on the 2nd of September. So Uranus will station retrograde at 27 degrees of Taurus. Sometimes when these outer planets are slowing down and stationing, we can feel sort of like the effects of what the planet represents. Like Uranus is unpredictable, it's chaotic, it wants authenticity, it's rebellious, it's got a mind of its own. It does not follow the crowd, it just fucks off and does whatever it wants. And often too, I find when Uranus is slowing down, because it can cause a little bit of chaos and our nervous system, because Uranus is associated with the nervous system, is a little bit sensitive. Like we might feel a little bit more anxious or like adrenal fatigue. We could also feel really unsettled as well. But this will mainly affect people that have many sensitive planets and points at 27 degrees of the fixed signs, which are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, and Aquarius. So if you've got any planets or points there, you might feel a sudden shift in energy, sudden things happening. You might suddenly change course, okay, suddenly realize that you need to do this. Also on the happening on the 2nd is Pluto will re-enter Capricorn. Now Pluto is in Aquarius at the moment and it's retrograde, and it is going to back up into Capricorn for the final time since 2008. So Pluto's been in Capricorn since 2008. Last year it first went into Aquarius and then backed into Capricorn again, and earlier this year it went back into Aquarius, and now it's going to back into Capricorn for the final time for 250 years. So we'll never see Pluto in Capricorn again. And Pluto won't go back any further than 29 degrees. And 29 degrees in astrology is an anaretic degree, and it speaks to culminations, endings, before you move on to the next. So whatever Pluto has been transforming, making you dig deep, causing immense change in Capricorn. So you want to check the Capricorn house topics of your chart. So if Capricorn's your 10th house, there's probably been some big changes in your career since 2008. If Capricorn's your 6th house, you could have had big changes in your work, your health. And also if Capricorn is your 2nd house, you could have had some major fluctuations and ups and downs and changes with money and finances. So whatever story Pluto has been making you dig deep and causing some changes since 2008, those stories are going to wrap up now. This will be the last time you deal with that, and then we move on to Pluto making Aquarius. Those house topics, they'll be really churning that up and changing that for us in big ways. Also on the 3rd, we have a new moon happening in Virgo. So I'll bring up that chart, share screen.
Funny already, Amy. I can definitely reflect on that, being a Capricorn myself and remembering what was going on in 2008 to now. Yeah, it's been a huge period of change, and I can feel that unwinding, ready to move on as well, energetically. So yeah, that's interesting.
Is Capricorn
Thanks, Pluto.
Is Capricorn your 6th house, Fiona?
I'm not sure. So it's my
Are you Leo rising?
Yeah, Leo rising.
Capricorn's your 6th house and your sun's in Capricorn?
Yeah.
So the person you are in 2008 would be completely different to the person you are now, I'd imagine.
Yeah, pretty well.
And how you take care of your health and well-being.
Absolutely, yeah. That's been my journey of kinesiology, energy therapy. Yeah.
Did you first
empowering.
Did you first get into that all that around 2008?
Yeah. That was in between my first 2 children as well. So.
Okay. All right, so we have this this very grounded and practical new moon happening in Virgo right here. So the new moon is when the sun and the moon stand in the same part of the sky, and it's like a seeding point, and it's the beginning of a new cycle. So it brings in new starts and new opportunities, and this new moon will be happening at 11 degrees and 4 minutes of Virgo. This new moon will also be opposing Saturn and forming a wide square to Jupiter. So whatever's starting now, you need to improve it, you need to make things better, you need to analyze the situation, you need to be more practical. Saturn could be throwing some little obstacles your way that you need to figure out, okay, this isn't working, how do I make it work better? The square happening from Jupiter, there can be some opportunities, and possibly with all this happening in mutable, or also known as bicorporeal signs, there's probably a few things you're starting at the moment, and you've got to try and figure out how to make it work. There could be some issues that need to be ironed out before it does work, but the opportunity will come. But first, it's going to take a little bit of organisation, a bit of practicality, and ironing out the lumps and bumps so it flows. So that's the new moon.
That's really going to be a big day on the 3rd of September, just to be aware of your mental state. As I said, it's an 8 energy year. September will be an 8 energy month, and in the cards of life, the 3rd of September is actually going to be the 8 of diamonds reflection. So it's amplified with that 8. It really is about slowing down, becoming precise and deliberate, keeping check of the physical world around you. Don't give up.
No. Okay. And then on the 5th of September, Mars will enter Cancer. So I'll go here. I have to do that animated thing again. So we can see the little thing. Mars here, it's just entered Cancer. With Mars entering Cancer, it's going to tell a story until June next year, and this is because Mars is going to go all the way through Cancer. It will enter Leo on the 4th of November, and then on the 7th of December, it will station retrograde at 6 degrees of Leo, and then it'll back up into Cancer again on the 6th of January, and go all the way back until 17 degrees of Cancer. It'll station direct on the 24th of February, start moving forward again, re-enter Leo on the 18th of April, and then finally leave Leo and head on into Virgo on the 17th of June. So you want to check the house topics of the Cancer and Leo houses of your chart, because whatever this, when Mars, this is only the first entry, so the topics won't be so obvious, but especially over the next month, there'll be some things drip in with the Mars and Leo, Cancer and Leo topics will be dripping in over the next couple of months, and you will be working with them until June next year. And I'm really not looking forward to this, because as a Leo rising, I think this is going to affect my health. But anyway, yeah. So often too, when a planet ingresses into a new sign, you can notice some topics being thrown your way that you're working with until it leaves the sign. But because there's going to be the retrograde involving Leo as well, it's just going to keep going on until when June next year, when Mars finally leaves Leo. Usually with Mars retrogrades, you know, it can be hard to get things going because and people are a little bit more argumentative. With Cancer being a sign ruled by the moon, a lot of people could be dealing with a lot of family karma as well. With Mars retrograde in Leo, we could be dealing with our own confidence, how we want to stand out and do our own thing. We could be dealing with that as well. It could be what we want for ourselves versus what our family wants. I think your local, there could be a lot more like issues in the local community, and I wouldn't mind betting that some of the bigger issues in the world that are happening at the moment, with the general populations being a little bit, with a lot of unrest, that could amp up a little bit as well. Yeah, so this Mars entering Cancer this month is kind of going to be a big deal for a long time. Okay, so done Mars enters Cancer. On the 9th, Mercury enters Virgo. Mercury does really well in Virgo. I'll just put it in Virgo. So on the 9th, Mercury enters Virgo. So Mercury topics like communications, commerce, media, all those sort of stuff is going to actually flow quite well. The only issue is it'll flow well, but because Mercury will be opposing Saturn the whole time it's there, it probably will flow, but then there'll be some little issues or delay blocks that you'll need to get over as well. But as a general rule, it shouldn't be too bad. And then Mercury will stay in Virgo until later in the month. Okay, so, and actually my favorite day for the month, the transit of the month, I reckon, the nicest one anyway. Let's get rid of that circle. The transit of the month, in my opinion, is on the 15th.
Ooh, 15th of September.
What does the card say about the 15th, Fiona?
Well, for me, that is the 9 of clubs. So with the cards, and each suit is a river of energy where we cycle through to form our own evolution. So clubs being of the mind and how we express ourselves. The 9 really is about inviting completions, graduations, endings, releasing. And on the physical side, it can be, you know, a lot of grief and shock and denial as well, resistance to that letting go. But it's a big change point in the cards of life.
Well, on the 15th, we've got Venus making a trine to Jupiter.
Okay.
Now, Venus and
Hi
Jupiter
there,
are both considered benefic planets, so they bring good things that we like as a general rule, as long as it's, the only time I really see Jupiter and Venus do shit things is when it's like Jupiter's making you fat or excess. Venus can make us indulge on too many pleasures as well. So we got two, yeah, Venus isn't my friend sometimes with chocolate.
I'm not having you over for dinner that day, sorry.
So we've got two benefics connecting via a trine. The trine aspect is considered the nature of Jupiter. It just flows. There's no pressure or stress generally with trine aspects. So this can just be a day where we can potentially feel good. And then, you know, we feel good around other people. It's a day to do things with other people, to go out and enjoy yourself. Spoil yourself, spoil your friends, just enjoy life. That's what I'm seeing those two on this day. So
that's good. Again, with the 9 energy that I work with, that completion, graduation, endings, it's not always a bad thing. Like it is also bringing in the energy of being focused on that next step and the higher plane. And it is a day of rest often, and where you can be content and knowing that you're happy to move through the cycles and not resist. So that's nice.
it could be a day where you decide not to eat too much shit anymore. Look at these two planets coming together, supporting. So we've got to let go of something that's been not doing good for us.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we're done the 9th, 15th, and then on the 18th, we've got our first lunar eclipse happening in the sign of Pisces. What did I say? The 18th. Okay, so we've got a lunar eclipse happening in the sign of Pisces at 25 degrees. This is going to be the first set of eclipses occurring in the Virgo Pisces axis. The last couple of years we've had them in the Libra Aries axis. Now with this, so this is beginning the new series. So eclipse season also starts about a month before the first eclipse. So eclipse season's already started. So whatever how this eclipse series is going to affect you, the information already would have started dripping in. You need to check the Pisces and Virgo house topics because they're probably over the next couple of years, there's going to be some big changes going on in those houses, big new beginnings, big endings. And as a general, the house topics are a little bit agitated and unsettled. So if Virgo and Pisces sits over your 4th and 10th house, you could be experiencing some big changes in your career life and home and family as well. Okay, so this eclipse involves the North Node. So this brings in new directions, new starts. So full moons are a time of it's a full moon on steroids. So full moons are a time of culminations, completions, realizations, acknowledgements. So whatever is brought up now is going to probably make you change path. You're going to learn some new information, get some new insights, something's going to come to a head and it sets you on a new path. The only thing is this eclipse involves Neptune, so it's really close there to Neptune. So the information and knowledge you receive or the realizations you get could be a little bit fuzzy at the moment, and it's probably because of that uncertainty that you take a new path. The final eclipse in the Virgo Pisces axis will occur in, I think, February 2027. So this is going to be the first installment of a couple of year-long storyline. The last time the nodes were hitting the Virgo Pisces axis was 9 years ago, but the South Node would have been going through Pisces and the North Node would have been going through Virgo, even though they're not there yet. So the nodes won't actually enter the Virgo Pisces axis until January next year, and the nodes spend about 18 months in a sign. But because eclipses are dependent on the luminary's distance from the nodes, so it doesn't really matter what sign they're in, they can still cause an eclipse. So with the full moon being at 25 degrees of Pisces and the North Node here being at 6 degrees of Aries, then they're within that 18-degree range. It can still cause an eclipse, but this means it's the first installment of a storyline that'll go until February 2027, but it'll really amp up when the North Node and the South Node hit the Virgo Pisces axis in January next year, if that makes sense. So yeah. Eclipses are a time of big endings, big new beginnings, change, and a little bit of agitation. But I think it was back in so 18 years. What's it? 24 minus 18? 2008.
2008. Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been the last time that the North Node would have been going through Pisces and the South Node would have been going through Virgo. And depending on, like, if an eclipse happens on the South Node, usually there's a release, and if eclipse happens on the North Node, usually it's more likely a door will open up. So there's going to be less of the Virgo activity and there's going to be more of the Pisces activity. So yeah, that's what's happening there. I think that's
the 18th of September. It's a big karmic number with what I do. It's the 6 of clubs, and the 6 is always that karmic reflection of what you've put out, and being the club suit, it's the mind, what you're thinking, what we're attracting, you get to see the proof of it. So yeah, it'll be a big full moon. for September.
Yeah, and then on the 22nd, the sun will enter Libra, sorry. So that's the spring equinox if you're in Australia, and the autumn equinox if you're in the northern hemisphere. Australia's in the southern hemisphere, so it's the spring equinox in the southern hemisphere, and the autumn equinox in the northern hemisphere, which acts like a tipping point. So we've got equal light. It's a halfway point between the solstices. And then on the 23rd of September, Venus will enter Scorpio, and we'll stay there until probably halfway through next month. Venus struggles a bit in Scorpio, so for most of the month, Venus is going to be as happy as a pig in shit going through its home sign of Libra. But it could have, but with the South Node, it's probably not going to be as great as it could normally be. But when Venus hits Virgo, Venus topics are going to take a bit of a dive. Venus wants happiness. It wants to pull people together. It wants harmony. Scorpio wants to sniper people. So you can see that there's a little bit of a mismatch in energy. So that's the main stuff happening in astrology for the month. It's going to be a big month. Last month was a big month too, and I reckon this month's going to be just as big in its own way. It's going to be bringing in a whole set of new things to deal with, especially with Mars entering Cancer and the eclipses. We're going to get a bit of a taste of what a lot of next year is going to entail as well. But I'm really looking forward to on the 15th that Venus trine Jupiter. I think that's the sweet point of the month. So that's all I've got to say.
Yeah, but and again, it's a great alignment between, say, the numbers and the planets. It reflects a similar thing. And again, the 15th, that is that change point again with the cycle of the cards of life, evolving us mere humans. So say this month that we're just finishing, August, it has been trying if you've struggled against the reflections that you've seen. So I would just say in September, really just try and slow time down for yourself. If you feel yourself out of control, just bring in that mastery, become more precise, deliberate. It really is because of the amplification of the eights. If you want to talk about chakra systems as well, the eighth is our soul star chakra, a foot above our head, and it really is about the soul lessons. So yeah, contemplate for September. Do not, as I say, do not give up. Slow yourself down so you're not reactionary. The mastery of the human is to learn that we are creators, not reactors. Life really is happening through us. And I think this year, the heavens, which is the universal clock, with the work that I do, it is really pushing us to understand the mastery of the human being, as say, being this creator. We are not just the perceivers of life. So yeah, if you feel yourself out of control, breathe, slow down, find some techniques, just to give yourself space before you react to things.
Okay. You got anything
hopefully
else to say?
Hopefully our physicality calms down as well, as say this month of August, and all the things, and say the cycles that are ending with what you've spoken about, Amy. I know that's definitely triggered a lot of reflection in my own life. The dates are definitely a display of cycles I've gone through in part of my evolution, and I'm sure other people watching, if they reflect on those cycles as well, would find the same things. So yeah,
awesome.
we
All right,
should check in again for the next month, and at the end of September do another video for October and just help lead us through this period.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, Fiona.
No worries. Thank you, Amy. And the chart that Amy's put up too, definitely hit her up to do your own personal chart. It does help even though I do my own divinations and weird stuff. The planetary map that Amy can provide for you with a personal reading is quite powerful, and can help on reflections and give you a bit of a heads up. You know, when we all throw it out to the heavens and say, oh, why is life giving me this? Often it is just trying to marinate us into the next step. So
All right.
thanks, Amy, for all that you do.
That's all good. And I really highly recommend a kinesiology session with Fiona. You come out feeling brand new.
I've actually just remembered to use my own tools on myself. So the physical traumas that I've been going through in the last month or so, I'm actually feeling very excited and springy for spring tomorrow. So thank you, Amy.
All right. Okay, thanks.
Okay. Bye.